Happy New Year. All right, so I kind of wanted to spend some time to talk about just some things that I've been reflecting upon this last year and some things that I look forward to for next year. I'm not someone that is very big on New Year's resolutions or anything like that, but I do like to spend time reflecting. I like to reflect upon things I'm grateful for. I like to think about things that inspire me and motivate me to want to become a better person and to build a community of people that want to better themselves as well.
Welcome to Simply Walk the Talk. Our bodies and minds adapt to what we do most of the time. If you want to change your body and mind, you must change what it is you do most of the time. This podcast explores all things health, wellness, fitness, lifestyle, and biohacking. Stay tuned as we explore various thoughts, methods, and experiences from a multitude of conversations between our interesting guests and experts through many fields of work. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Simply walk the talk. Simply walk the talk.
Some of the things that I can recall from this past year are the deep work that we've been doing with Vivo Barefoot. It's been really inspirational, and I get a chance to be challenged in ways that I maybe wouldn't have been challenged otherwise. Some of the things that come to mind are the speed project we did last year. Also, the Air Libre hiking adventure that we did this year, which was it was mind-blowing in many ways. And I know I talked about it on the podcast before, but that was one of those ones that really, really shook me to my core, but in a very positive way. Ultimately, I came away from that feeling very hopeful for what's to come in the future. And it helped me to understand that while I'm not as young as I used to be, obviously, it's a good reminder that we need to continue taking care of ourselves. And I feel like it's better to have a variety of movements that we go through. So not just focusing on being a good runner and only running and having that be your workout, or only preparing for a Hyrox event or a CrossFit competition. I feel like we should do more to kind of challenge ourselves in a variety of ways. And that was one of the reasons why I always say yes to any adventure that is thrown my way as long as I can. For instance, when I was asked to do the speed project, it was an absolute yes. No questions asked, easy, like, let's go. I asked questions later, and it was one of the most profound experiences I could ever have. Then something similar happened with Air Libre and the Feel Your Earth campaign that we did with Vivo Barefoot in the backcountry of Canada, near Whistler. That was incredible. And that one was almost an immediate yes, but the only reason why I hesitated on that one is because that one was happening at the same time that my daughter's birthday was or is, which is September 11th. And I believe we had to travel so I traveled from New York to Canada to Vancouver on the 11th. So it was literally on my daughter's birthday was the day that I traveled to go do this amazing adventure. And so I hesitated because I wanted to just make sure that whatever I do, I'm a good role model for my kids. And I want them to know that I'm going to be there no matter what. And that if I do, for some reason, miss being there or I'm late being there, it's because of something profound, something that hopefully when they get older, my kids will look at me and say, wow, my dad is pretty cool. He's done some amazing things. And he has shown that anything is possible, or most things are possible if you put your mind to it. So that was something that I look back on and I think to myself, I'm actually proud of myself for achieving that, because looking back on the documentary and reliving some of those experiences, I realized that that was a huge undertaking. And I realized it obviously in the midst of it. But even thinking about it right now in this moment, it's like, yeah, we did something pretty incredible. And so if you're curious about what I'm talking about in a deeper level, then go and check out the documentary. And it's on the Vivo Barefoot YouTube channel. You can go and check it out. It's beautifully shot. Shout out to Alex Lawson and Dawson Wilson, or Dawson Winslow, and Alex, I forget, Alex Brogy. Yeah, and Alex Brogy. There were two Alexes and Dawson. They were responsible for capturing a lot of the content, the photos, the videos. Incredible. And then we had a team of people from different backgrounds, and most of us, if not all of us, had no real experience when it comes to this type of hike. But we crossed 10 peaks, and we traversed, I think it was it 60 kilometers, 10 peaks, and we did that in 47 hours. But we got from start to finish, so we got dropped off by helicopter in sort of the middle of nowhere, the backcountry of British Columbia. And once we got dropped off, we had all our packs on us. We had all the food we were going to eat, all the water we were going to consume, all the things that needed to protect us from the elements, and which means even our tent and our backpack, everything was on us. And we immediately realized, oh shit, like this is going to be a journey. And we did all of this in barefoot boots, by the way. In fact, the boots I'm wearing right now are very similar to the ones that we used. I happen to use the Primus Trail Flow Mid, and I feel like that was the perfect choice because it's very light and it's water resistant. It's also very dynamic, so it allows for you to still feel the earth, which was kind of the name of the campaign. I mean, I guess in the end, the name of the documentary, the whole process is called No Turning Back. So that's the name if you want to search for it on the Vivo Barefoot YouTube. But we truly realized there was no turning back, because once we got dropped off, it was like, look, we're here. We may as well do it. We all set time aside to do this. None of us are true pros except the two guides and one of the leads from Air Libre. They are the ones who are the pros at doing this, but here we are. I mean, I feel like I can do a lot in life, but stepping in these big fields of boulders and rocks and edges, and I mean, my ankles and my feet got so much of a workout, and I feel like I don't think I would have been able to do it if I had on conventional hiking boots, because I feel like it would have been too stiff and it would have changed the way that my body moves. And I'm very, very thankful that I was able to get through it without injury. I did fall twice, but it was a nice little slip onto my pack. And the packs that we had were awesome. I still have mine. It was by the company Rob, R-A-B, Rab or Rob. And their packs are really awesome because we had all the stuff that we could fit in there. And our packs weighed about like 35 pounds on average. Some weighed a little bit more. The guys with the camera gear, theirs weighed more. And then we had a couple of people who were able to kind of get their weight down. I think Pepper, she got her weight down to, I think it was 18 pounds, which is amazing. And we had a few of the girls that had like 23 pounds and things like that. But for most of the guys, we had well over 30 pounds. And so I think it brought the average to about 30, 35 pounds. But I only say that to say we had that on our back. So we were rucking and hiking. So we were tackling inclines. We were dealing with the elements, the cold, the wet, at some points the heat. So in the middle of the day, it would get kind of hot in certain parts. And at night, it would get really cold. And then one morning we had complete fog, so the visibility was off, so it was hard to see very far in front of you. And then we didn't have cell phone reception, so we had to throw up a Starlink just to get content out because, of course, we were documenting this whole thing, and we also wanted to make sure that we were safe and people could track us if they needed to find us. But it was a really amazing experience. And then that's just two that kind of come to mind. But then there was all these other events that I did throughout the year where we had some amazing workshops in Austin. And so Austin happens to be the Vivo Barefoot US headquarters right now, which is really cool. It's kind of a new happening. And the Austin community is amazing. It was amazing before Vivo Barefoot came into it, but then it's gotten even more amazing now that we are building our own sort of community around foot health and being more barefoot. And so there's a lot of cool communities. There's, I won't even try to name them because I'll leave some out and I don't want to do that. But Austin is really, really rocking right now. I love it. And I look forward to doing much more there. And then, of course, in my city, New York City, I love what we've built because we've shown that there's things you can do outside of the gym in New York City, obviously, right? So we've done a couple hikes and events at Central Park. We did coffee and chill in the middle of the city. We did some stuff in Brooklyn at Othership. We did a hike upstate near in Cold Spring. What else did we do? We've done some workshops in a few of the PT and wellness facilities, and there's much more to come. And I love it because every time we reach out to a group, it's almost like we always get a yes. And I can relate to that because anytime I get asked to do an event on behalf of Vivo Barefoot, I'm always saying yes. And so I gravitate towards those who are always open for opportunities and willing to take a risk and say yes. In fact, one of the funny things I remember from one of the guys, my buddy Sean Salemi, shout out Sean. He lives in Harlem, and he came to do this GoRuck event that Philip and we decided to come up with this rucking event, and New York City was really cold, and we were a little bit nervous on if this event was going to work the way we wanted it to, because it was like we were in extreme cold. I think it had just snowed a couple of days before. I think it snowed on like a Saturday or Sunday, and our event was going to be on Wednesday. And it was a rucking event in Williamsburg, Brooklyn. And we planned on rucking, 5K? It was going to be a 5K ruck. And shout out to GoRuck, who sent us, they sent us 20 rucksacks with 20-pound weight plates. And for big guys like myself and a few of the other guys there, 20 pounds is not a lot, but it is something. You can definitely feel it. But for some of the smaller people, 20 pounds is a lot. So for those of the group that weigh close to 100 pounds, that's 20% of the body weight, which is a really big standard. When I'm trying to do 20 or 25% of my body weight, being that I weigh 200 pounds, that's basically, what is that? 50 pounds, 40 to 50 pounds on my back. And that's when it gets really brutal. You can feel that. But what was cool was Sean came to help Philip and I load up all of those backpacks and all the shoes and the boots that we were going to be giving out. He came to help out with that, and then we crammed into this Uber to go from Harlem all the way with that over 400 pounds worth of stuff. I can only imagine what the Uber driver was thinking. But we load up the van. We go to Williamsburg, and as we were leaving my apartment, Sean is just like, by the way, like, what's the deal with all the backpacks and what's all this weight? And we're like, oh, well, that's part of the ruck. Like, we're going to be rucking. And he was like, oh, I didn't know what that was. And I'm like, oh, really? Yeah, bro, we're going to be rucking with weight for 3 miles or 5K. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Right? And Philip and I started laughing because I'm like, wow, you said yes to whatever it is we were doing. You didn't even know what it is we were going to do. You just said yes. And I love that. And then obviously we went back and we looked at the text messages, and I could see where the confusion was, but in the end, all that really matters is that he was willing to say yes. And I love it because we've now converted at least one person. I know there's a lot more, but at least we've seen one person really take that and run with it, literally and figuratively. And now he's using it quite often and he sees the benefit of doing it. And so we were able to introduce to him several events ago, we were able to introduce to him this idea of barefoot shoes, barefoot footwear, and the importance of building your body from the ground up. And he's a martial artist, he's a model, he's an actor, he does a lot of really cool things, he's a trainer, and he understands a little bit more than most when it comes to naturally building your feet because of martial arts, right? However, he didn't realize as much importance until we started really talking to him about it and inviting him to some of these events. And he's converted, let's say that. And so now he's finally understanding what rucking is all about and putting a little bit of extra weight onto your body, both on the form of getting stronger, but adding weight to your system. Rucking doesn't have to be a vest. It doesn't have to be a backpack. It doesn't have to be anything that you think it has to be. It can be pretty much anything as long as you're adding weight to your body. And so you may have seen me using the Ion vest. Ion is spelled, at least in this sense, it's spelled AION. And you may have seen Gary Brecka promoting it. And they have ones that look nice. So you could kind of wear it to the office, or you could wear it to work, or you can wear it in a more presentable setting. But then they have these other ones that look like bulletproof vests in a way. And Philip, he likes to call them the 50 Cent vest, because 50 Cent used to wear that bulletproof vest in his music videos back in the day. And so it's kind of funny because I like that one a lot. It's compressing. So it's like a compression piece. So you want to get it fitted right. And I wear the large one, I believe, and Philip wears the small one. And just to give you an idea, like I'm 6 feet, 200 pounds, and I'm a thick boy, but I'm a bit stockier than, say, someone like Philip. So large for me is good. And I considered extra large because I usually wear extra large shirts and things like that. But because you want this to be form fitted and you want it to act as a compression vest as well, I decided to get the large, and I feel like it's perfect. And Philip is probably a natural in between small and medium, but he went for the small because he wanted to get that compression component. But then he's noticed that as he wears it more, it's starting to kind of fit him better. So I guess that means it's loosening up a little bit. So just kind of keep that in mind when it comes to getting the Ion vest if you decide to do so. But what I like about that is it has a different weight depending on the size. And so the large, I believe, is around 10 pounds. And I like that because it's not too much, but it form fits me just enough to where I can wear it underneath my clothing or underneath my jacket. And one of the things that I really noticed about it is that it helps to contain your body heat. And so I've been using it while I'm in New York. Thankfully, I don't need it here in Oklahoma right now because it's awkwardly like 70 degrees. I think literally right now it's 71 degrees outside. And I am actually, it's saying it's 72 degrees outside right now. And it is December 22nd. I don't think it's ever felt this warm in Oklahoma City at this time of the year. But that being said, I kind of looked at the weather program, the weather forecast before coming here, and I saw it was going to be relatively warm. So I decided to leave my Ion vest at home. But when I get back to New York, it's probably going to be really cold, so I'll pop that thing on. But you almost immediately feel, from like the moment you put it on and zip it up, you almost immediately feel like it's a warm hug. And Philip was telling me about this concept of a thunder vest. I didn't know what a thunder vest was, but that's apparently what you can use for pets, for your dogs, especially like when it's thunder and lightning outside. A lot of dogs get antsy and overly anxious. And so apparently they have these weighted vests or these thunder vests you can put on the dogs to help to calm them down. And then I know there's this concept of wearing or sleeping with weighted blankets. or relaxing at home with weighted blankets. And I realized that that helps to kind of ease people's anxiety and calm them down a little bit. So I think there is something to that. And so, again, I don't have any of those issues, but whenever I put the vest on and I zipped it up, I immediately felt like, oh, this is really cool. Like I can run in it, I can walk around, no issues. And then went outside. When I first got it, we were in San Antonio. Philip and I were in San Antonio, and it was kind of cold there. And it was unexpectedly cold. Here it's unexpectedly warm. There it was unexpectedly cold. We were thankful to have the ion vest because we zipped it up and we were able to just wear a light jacket on top of it, and we were totally fine. And we went out to eat. We happened to be outdoors, right along the canal. What is that called? I forget what it's called, but right there in San Antonio, there's that canal, that the Riverwalk. Yeah, I think it's called the Riverwalk. There you go. So we were right along the Riverwalk, and we were eating outside, and it was raining or like sprinkling. And a lot of people were like, "Oh no, I gotta go inside because it's cold out here and it's wet." And it was me, Philip, and Mitchell. We stayed outside. Now Mitchell did not have on a vest. Philip and I did, and we were totally fine. But thankfully, Mitchell had on a jacket and a hood, so he was fine as well. But it wasn't until I took off the vest completely that night that I realized, wow, this really does help to contain the heat. And it felt like someone letting go from a hug. And I was like, wow, this is incredible. So if you get a chance to check it out, I highly suggest you do so. This is not a commercial for Ion. This is just me in the moment right now, thinking about some of the things that I experienced over this last year. And obviously the things that I just went through are some of the things that I'm realizing are coming to the top of my head. So that's that. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to really recap on, but I do know that this next year, so I always get excited about what's coming in the new year. And I think that's because I'm just a very optimistic person, but also I continually have rods in the flame, as they say. I have many rods in the flame. And I feel like a lot of the things I've been working on over the last 10 years, 20 years are really starting to come to fruition. And 2026 looks the most promising, I think, than any year ever has. And I'm excited for that because there's a lot of big projects that I'm working on. And I don't even want to talk about it right now because I know it could get super long. I could spend a lot of time going over what's to come, but also I don't want to ruin the surprise or ruin the blessing, so to speak. And there's no rush to any of this because I'm always working. I'm always enjoying my work. And so I want to enjoy the process of it all as well. The ups, the downs, the ins, the outs. Not everything works. And this is the reason why I like to have many things going on. But I also would be not fully authentic if I didn't tell you that there are low points in my career and in my life when money isn't the way that I would like it to be, or there's times when I don't get a chance to see my kids as much as I would like to, or there's times when I have to decide between one amazing opportunity versus another amazing opportunity. I wish I could do both of them or all of them. So it's not always easy. It's not as easy as it might seem when you just look at social media. But what I can say is that I'm always working and I'm always here to want to help the community at large. And so if there's anything I can do to help someone, then by all means, let me know, reach out. And I say that ahead of what I really want to talk about, which is the fact that I have a lot of hope, and I have had a lot of hope over the years to bring something back to Oklahoma, which is where I am right now. I'm in Edmond, Oklahoma at my brother's place, which is why the background looks a little bit different. I'm sitting on his couch while he's working right now, and I have the house to myself. And I thought, okay, let me discuss some of the things that I really want to discuss, because as I reminisce on some of the most painful times of my career in my life, one of which is the passing of my father almost Well, yeah, it was exactly 2 years ago, 5 days ago. So December 17th is a day that is not the best of days, but I choose to make it a day of memory and honoring my father. And it's a day in which I will make an effort to make sure that I'm always with family on that day. It's one of the reasons why I'm here, because when my dad did pass away 2 years ago, I was literally on the way to see my kids because I made a conscious effort to go and see my kids first and then come back and see my family here in Oklahoma. And whether that was a good decision or a bad decision, it was a decision I decided to make. And it was one that I had to live with, being that I wasn't here when my father passed away. And it was something that my brother had to deal with on his own. But I very, very quickly said hi and I love you to my kids. I made sure to savor the moment. I had to let them know, I had to break the news to them in real time. And I had to deal with the pain of my kids being happy that I had just arrived for the holidays, but then having to leave right away. Like they were still so young. My son was not even 5 yet. And I remember him looking at me just thinking like, but you just got here, Papa, and you're leaving. And I'm like, I know it's hard. It's hard for you and it's hard for me, but I promise you I will be back literally as soon as I can. And that was a point in which, you know, I had to deal with the pain of saying goodbye yet again to my son who had been longing to see me. And then to come here and deal with the fallout of all that my brother and I had to go through when it comes to putting together a funeral and having to come up with, my brother and I had to raise money because we didn't have the funds to be able to all of a sudden pay for a funeral, which cost us over $14,000, almost $15,000, that thankfully the community at large came to our aid, which was amazing, which is another reason why I continually want to do what I can to give back. And so while being here during the holidays is really tough, because December 17th represents a day of loss in my family, it's also a day of joy because it's a day in which we all came together to show that we are a strong family, that we can get through anything. It's also happens to be the day of my best friend, Josh Riley. It's his wife, Liz Riley. It's her birthday. And that's interesting because I don't know if she even realized that, but like, while there is a day of mourning, there's also a day of celebration. And so usually when I come home, I get a chance to also be with my very, very close friends. And my dad's birthday every year was always pretty challenging for him because his birthday is on Christmas Day. So December 25th marks a day of joy in the fact of getting gifts and celebrating time with family for Christmas, but also for my dad's birthday. And my brother and I grew up knowing to do our best to celebrate both my dad's birthday and Christmas separately. And now this gives us an opportunity to do that even more. So Christmas is not only Christmas, but it's also a day to honor my father when he was with us and when he's no longer with us here on this earth. And so I want that to be a reminder for those out there that we're never guaranteed tomorrow, and to remember to tell the people around you that you love them. For instance, my daughter, Zia Rose, her birthday is September 11th. And most people here in America recognize that day as a day of loss, a day of darkness. And I see that as a day of joy because it was when my daughter, like when she was born, I was able to witness the birth of my second child into this world. And so it just goes to show that there's ebbs and flows throughout life, and we have to just ride the wave. And it's a conscious decision we can make to either allow it to get us down, or we can do everything we can to embrace the pain and to remember all of the good moments that we can, and to talk about the difficult moments. And however you can do that, if that's just going to have a drink with a friend, or to go meditate with your loved one, or to hop on a video and talk about it on a podcast, or to listen to a song. You know, I was with my buddy Josh Riley. We went to go play pickleball the other day, which I think I mentioned before. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I did on a different video. But when we were about to get out, we were playing a song. I don't remember the name of the song, but it's a song that he mentioned to me, like, hey man, I don't know if you've ever heard this song before, but I imagine this would really help you to remember your dad, and you know, it might make you break down. But I'm like, hey, no, that's okay, because anything that allows me to think positively of my father, and if it has that kind of impact on me, then bring it on. You know, it's not like I'm going to hide from mourning or hide from crying, because you know, when you're around people that you love, then you want to give them all of you, and you want to receive all of them. And so, yeah, I don't know where this message is going, but I'm really just kind of talking off the cuff here and talking from my heart while I'm here in this moment. You know, I see right behind me, I see imagery of my brother and my nephew and my kids, and images of my dad. And that is very beautiful and very powerful, because I'm in my brother's apartment. And it's not an apartment, this is a house. We're not in New York anymore, but I'm in my brother's home. And I love that I can come here and feel like this is home for me as well. If I need to use his car, I can use the car to go and visit friends, which I've done. And, you know, this trip, I recently just reconnected with a friend, Tasha, who I haven't seen or talked to in 16 years. And we're going to get together and reminisce and talk and catch up. And I love that. And I know it's not going to be always the positives. Like I want to know the downsides and the upsides, and just be authentic with the people that we care about. And so I look forward to this new year. And what I really want to do, like I was alluding to earlier, is I have big plans of really building something special here in Oklahoma. And the reason why I say that is because I'm from here. I'm from a very small town called Chandler, Oklahoma, which has a population of approximately 3,000 people. And I commonly say that this is about the same amount of people in my building complex in New York City, which is interesting. But this is a place where, to this day, my dad's home is still there, where I partially grew up in that home. And it's not too far from a home that I was born in and raised in with my mom and my dad. And my dad and my uncle literally built this house with their hands. And, you know, it's like, there's a number of things that I'm drawn to when it comes to my hometown. But, and while I love to see the growth of Oklahoma City, I see that Oklahoma City is booming. We are the reigning champs in the NBA with the Oklahoma City Thunder. Exciting. And we have the softball Hall of Fame here. And we've got the Paralympics, and we've got, like, there's so many things that are happening with Oklahoma City. And every time I come back, I see a lot of growth. However, it's a little bit discouraging to see that there's not more growth in terms of health, because I feel like that was one of the things that contributed to the eventual death of my father. And I'm not saying it's directly as a result of someone else's doing, but one of the things that I was trying to do before my dad passed was I wanted to build a regenerative farming project in which people could work the land and eat from that, reap what they sow, so to speak. And I would come in and show them how to exercise in a functional way that shows them how to work the land, but also to be able to eat for free from working the land, to then get over the excuse of eating healthy is too expensive. And I wanted to also, I wanted to get people to understand that just because there's a lot of fast food restaurants doesn't mean that that's how you have to eat and how you have to cook. But when the government subsidizes the fast food, and fast food becomes much cheaper and much more convenient over real food, then I obviously get it because it's affected me and my family. And so maybe not all of us are as strong as I am or as we are, the person that's watching and listening to this, but if you can help someone, then why not? And I feel like that's part of the guilt that I deal with is I wish I could have done more to help my father, but ultimately help my family. And fortunately, my mom is still with us and she does adhere to the things. I mean, she does relish in the fact that her son is a health coach and a trainer and is doing really well traveling the world. And she's all ears when it comes to different methods and protocols and tools to use and supplements to take and things like that. And so my mom has greatly benefited from that and will continue to do so. I wish my father was able to do that before he passed away. And so rather than get down on myself and think, woe is me, I now use it as a fuel to then work even harder to bring about some of these projects that I wanted to work on in the past. And it's in my notes. I have ideas that I've been working on for more than 5 or 6 years, well before the pandemic. And I also have plans in the future. Hopefully it happens in 2026. But I have plans to open up a facility that I can come in every once in a while to teach classes and do different courses on fitness and different ways to talk about how you can move. And it doesn't have to always be the traditional exercise in a traditional gym. And I want to bring novel concepts to Chandler, America, right? And I want to bring some of this to Oklahoma City, because while we have some of the coolest bars and we have, a big facility that's being built for Oklahoma City Thunder, like when I come back here, there's only a handful of places that I even know of that I can go and eat a healthy meal without spending an arm and leg to do so. For instance, one of the places I love to eat is a place called Neighborhood Jam. I love it. And, they have 3 locations that I know of. One happens to be right here in Edmond on 2nd Street, not too far. There's another one, I think, on 164th, not too far from here as well. And then there's a third one in Midtown. They call Midtown here in Oklahoma City. That's not too far from where my brother works at St. Anthony Hospital. And it's a really cool place, but they close at 3 p.m. because it's a brunch place, right? It's a breakfast and brunch place. And so if I want to eat food other than that, like if I want to eat early dinner or if I want to eat dinner, another place I like is Flower Child. Flower Child is amazing, but let's face it, like it's expensive and it's a little bit further of a drive for me, and I don't always want to eat just there. So sometimes my brother and I, we just end up going to Torchy's or, of course, I do realize that, like, yes, we could cook a healthy meal and we do that as well. However, I'm trying to get my brother out of being an introvert or being less of an introvert and getting more involved in the community, because I feel like that would help him with some of the things he's dealing with. And I see how he's changed over the years because he lost his best friend in my dad. He talked to my dad every day. He would be with my dad in the hospital almost every single day. And when I wasn't here, my brother relied on my dad, and it was basically him and my dad. And, he's also close. He has his son and he has his work colleagues. He was a police officer and worked at the hospital, but it was always around this more morbid idea, this darkness of our father's health. And that he was very attached to that. And he's now gotten to the point where he is a wound care specialist nurse at the same hospital that my dad was in the beginning and ultimately passed away in. And he's kind of forever attached to that. And so when he's not going to church or he's not going to work, really the only community he has is social media or some of the groups, like the high school groups he takes photos of, like when he does the photography and videography. He's created Mario Holland Media, and it's great. It's amazing. I love what he's doing. He's done some really great work, and He's even helped me to get some content for Men's Health Magazine and Men's Fitness and things like that. You know, he's contributed to a lot of my content. However, like, I know he's much more valuable to the world by just staying cooped into in his house, because he doesn't have a community that he can reach out to. And so when I come back, like, I want us to get out and about. And the other day, we finally found a place that was actually pretty cool, and it got us out, allowed us to reminisce about our childhood and the fact that we used to play arcade games, and we would go to a arcade hall, like in different cities that we lived in. We would either play pool, like we played pool with our dad, and we played video games. And my brother's favorite game was Galaga. And I remember I loved to play Ninja Turtles, and there was a game called Bad Dude or Kung Fu. I think it was called, yeah, Kung Fu was another game that we loved. And we got a chance to play that at this place called Flashback, and it's a retro arcade hall. And we went there, and that was really cool because we kind of worked up a sweat, like, you know, getting all anxious and playing all these games and stuff. And I thought, like, wow, we just discovered that after all these years. But then where else can we go if we want to have a good time without having to actually be in a bar and drink alcohol and deal with cigarette smoke and deal with other people who are drinking? Not that we can't be around those people, but like, I wish there was a place where we could go and play table tennis or ping pong, or, you know, learn a new skill. Like, I don't know, like playing a new game, or getting together with people to play Twister or something. And I know we can create that, but if someone else is not doing it, then I guess it falls on me to create it. And that's why I'm saying, like, I'm using this right now as an opportunity to be a little bit more authentic, but also to create some sense of accountability for me to maybe look back on this and go, you know what? I called it out. And so if there is a resolution to this New Year's resolution thing, then that's one of the resolutions I have. And that is to try to do more within the community that helped to raise me. And that is here in Oklahoma City. And I don't say that because I want to neglect all the other communities that helped to raise me or to bring me up. But I want to start here because this is very sentimental to me, and it means a lot for me to give back, because, again, this community helped to really, really help me become the person I am today. And I want to help the youth of today, starting here in Oklahoma. And then I already have some ideas of some things I want to do in New York and eventually overseas. And so if you feel like you can help out in that, please reach out. Let me know. I think my mom would say, and I think many mothers out there would say, many parents out there would probably say this, but closed mouths don't get fed. So if we don't ask about it, if we don't talk about it, then it just kind of gets swept under the rug. And people see you on social media and think you're doing perfectly fine and you don't need help. But I think we could all use help. And sometimes a little encouragement goes a long way. And sometimes just making that one introduction of like, oh, you know what? I didn't even think about it, but Josh, have you tried out this place? You know, like, I recently just realized that Lovato BJJ is here in Oklahoma City. It's right down the street where my friends live, Josh and Liz and their kid Mav. And it's like, yeah, like when I come back, I want to go there and train. And maybe they sign up, and I would love for them to do so, because I think everyone should learn some levels of BJJ. And then, you know, maybe someone sees this and go, oh, Josh, you didn't know about this restaurant, or you didn't know about that youth facility where you can go and learn how to, I don't know, like twiddle your thumbs. So be it, right? So I don't know. I want to wrap this up by saying, let's do more to reach out and to come together as a unified group. And I think we should do less bringing each other down and do more of lifting each other up. And so I want to leave that with you. Do with it what you will. I hope this inspires someone. If it inspires at least one person, then I think I've done my job. And I know I'm very hopeful for the days to come, the weeks to come, the months to come, the years to come. And I want to continue to thrive throughout this journey we call life. and enjoy every aspect of it. The good sides, the bad sides, the lightness, the darkness, all of it. And so I hope you share this with someone, because maybe someone needs to hear this, some part of this, maybe not all of this. I got on here thinking this was going to be like a 30-minute episode. And of course, here we are, much longer than that. But thank you for your patience. Thank you for listening. And as always, thank you for your time. This is Josh signing out from Simply Walk the Talk. Peace.
Walk the talk, talking facts. Move like me, but I move a little fast. Make my move, here to last. Fasten your seatbelts, I'm coming past. Take care of me, longevity. Hack my biology, you better believe. Walking the talk, soul, mind, and body connected. Better go give us a lesson, yeah. Simply walk the talk.